The Canon EOS R5 has been one of our favorite cameras to shoot underwater over the past 4 years, as it's an all-around top performer and super ergonomic to use underwater. So I'm really stoked that the R5 Mark II is finally available. And of course, our first question before we looked at any of the specs was, does this work in the housing for the Canon R5 Mark I? Let's talk through that. Do also make sure to stop and check out Logan's video on all the improvements Canon has packed into this new camera. So when you take it out of the box, the R5 Mark II looks really similar to the Mark I. The obvious changes are the addition of a still video switch and moving the power switch to the right side of the camera around the upper quick control dial. There are some more subtle differences that actually make a pretty big impact. The first is the viewfinder. Canon redesigned the viewfinder to implement eye control autofocus. This makes the surround of the viewfinder a little bit larger. The overall thickness of the camera has also increased, which affects the position of the rear buttons in relation to the lens mount. So what does this mean for your underwater housing? Sadly, there is no one-size-fits-all for the R5 Mark I and Mark II cameras. The difference in thickness makes it impossible to have push buttons short enough to hit the back of the R5 Mark II, but long enough to hit the back of the R5 Mark I. And of course, the R5 Mark II has the extra power switch control. So if you're new to the market for R5 series cameras, and buying an underwater housing for the first time, you'll have to choose between a housing for the R5 Mark I or a housing for the R5 Mark II. Both of those housings are available now. And if you don't need the upgrades in the Mark II, you can actually get a fantastic deal on that R5 Mark I camera body, which is currently listed for $1,300 less than the US market retail price of the new Mark II camera. But if you already have a housing for the Canon R5 and want to use the new camera body, you're in luck. You'll need two things: a new housing back and a new camera mount. We now offer a kit that has both of these items packaged together. This is a non-destructive change, so you can easily travel with both camera bodies. Just make sure to use the correct back and mount when you switch between cameras. The only limitation is that you will not have access to the power switch on the new R5 Mark II camera while it's in the housing. We don't find this to be a big problem if you're using the camera's power save feature, which allows it to go to sleep when it's not actively in use. Just half press the shutter to wake it back up and take photos again. It works very well, and we've been able to easily get through a day of diving this way with no problems. And if you have the USB-C charging and data transfer bulkhead installed, you can even charge it back up in between dives very easily. It's important to note that we're not offering an upgrade to older R5 Mark I housing fronts to add the power switch. We had to move several controls around on the front to accommodate this new feature, so unfortunately it's just not as simple as just popping in an extra control. If you're already shooting TTL, you'll be happy to know that the R5 Mark II exposes your strobe lit images perfectly when combined with our DL5 DS-Link TTL converter and your choice of Ikelite DS strobes. So that's what you need to know about using the R5 Mark II in an Ikelite housing. If you have any questions at all, please shoot us an email via ikelite@ikelite.com. Happy shooting!